So we're diving into Who Moved My Cheese today.
Oh, yeah. A classic.
It is. It's a classic for a reason. And today we're going beyond the surface of this deceptively simple parable.
I love that. Deceptively simple.
Right. We're on a mission to uncover those hidden gems about dealing with change, the kind of stuff that impacts not just your work life,
Right.
but your entire journey.
Yeah, it's amazing how a story about cheese in a maze
I know.
can pack such a punch.
Exactly. We've got Sniff, Scurry, Hem and Haw,
The gang's all here.
two nice and two little people, all on this quest for cheese. And remember, the cheese is a metaphor,
Always.
right? It stands for anything we crave. Success,
Yep.
a sense of security, even love.
Absolutely.
And that maze,
Yeah.
that's the journey we all take to find those things. It's
Yeah.
a winding path through careers, relationships,
Yeah.
all the twists and turns of life itself.
Life itself.
Now,
Yeah.
when they find this awesome supply of cheese at Cheese Station C,
Oh, yeah.
they think they're set for life.
Living the dream.
Right. But then one day the cheese disappears.
Oh, no.
Sniff and Scurry, those resourceful little guys,
These guys.
instantly hit the maze, ready to find more.
They're on it.
Hem and haw.
Oh.
Not so much.
Nope.
They're stuck in denial, pointing fingers,
Yeah.
basically letting their emotions run the show.
It's fascinating how quickly they become victims of their own circumstances.
Right.
Do you think that's a common human reaction to change? To sort of freeze up?
Totally. Change throws us a curveball,
It does.
and we cling to what's familiar,
You do.
even when it's not working anymore.
It's comfortable.
It's like Johnson is saying, hey,
Uh-huh.
your reaction to change is a bigger deal than the change itself.
Interesting.
Sniff and Scurry, they just adapt no drama,
You're right.
and boom, they find new cheese.
No, it is.
But Hem and Haw get trapped
Oh,
by
it
their fear and their need to be right.
makes you wonder what would happen if we spent less time overthinking change
I know, right?
and more time just taking action.
I think about that line from the book all the time.
Yeah.
What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's like a challenge to break free from that fear paralysis.
It's powerful. So much of our potential is locked away by fear.
Another one that hits hard is,
Uh-huh.
if you do not change, you can become extinct.
Dramatic.
It sounds dramatic,
It does.
but Johnson's point is clear.
What is it?
Adapting to change is about more than just keeping up.
Right.
It's about survival in a world that never stands still.
So are we letting our resistance to change hold us back from experiencing something even better?
Right. We might be missing out on incredible opportunities
Yeah.
because we're clinging to what's comfortable.
I see that.
And then there's that reminder to smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old.
Oh, yeah. What's that about?
It's about being aware,
Okay.
staying alert to those subtle shifts that signal change is on the horizon.
I like that.
We're not talking paranoia here,
Yo.
but a healthy awareness of our surroundings.
It's like developing that sixth sense for change. I
Yeah.
imagine that takes a lot of self-awareness.
Definitely. It's about tuning into those subtle cues, both internally and in our environment.
Yeah.
You know, Who Moved My Cheese isn't just a story.
No.
It taps into the very real psychology of change.
Okay. Interesting.
Our brains are wired to seek comfort,
They are.
but that wiring can backfire when we let fear dictate our choices.
Right.
It's that fear that keeps us from exploring new possibilities and reaching our full potential.
That makes sense. So how do we start rewiring our brains to embrace change instead of fearing it?
That's where the real meat of the book comes in.
Yeah.
Those actionable strategies that anyone can use.
Uh-huh.
But before we jump into that,
Yeah.
I'm curious what's resonating most with you so far?
It's making me think about all the times I've let fear hold me back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to see those hem and haw tendencies in myself,
Uh-huh.
and it's not a good look.
It happens to the best of us.
What about you? What's sticking out to you?
For me, it's that idea of smelling the cheese.
Yeah.
Not just in my career, but in every aspect of my life.
Wow.
It's a reminder to stay present, to notice the subtle shifts that often precede bigger changes.
That's a great takeaway. It's almost like a call to action.
It is.
Be present.
Be present.
Be aware. Be ready to adapt.
That's it.
I like it.
You got it.
You know, before we move on, I keep thinking about hem and haw.
Yeah.
Everyone sees them as the cautionary tale,
Right.
but they were on to something, weren't they? I mean, they had a whole system worked out at Cheese Station C.
They did.
They felt comfortable, secure.
Right. They had their routines, their
Ow.
beliefs about how things should be.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lulled into that sense of complacency
It
when things are going well.
For sure.
But what happens when the cheese moves?
Exactly. Suddenly their whole world is turned upside down,
Right.
and their instinct is to resist, to cling to the past.
Because change is scary. It forces us to confront our fears, our insecurities,
Yeah.
our limiting beliefs,
All that stuff.
and sometimes it's easier to stay stuck than to face the unknown.
Absolutely. So how do we break free from those mental traps?
Yeah.
How do we become more like Sniff and Scurry, ready to adapt and move on when the cheese disappears?
Well, Johnson lays out some pretty practical strategies in the book.
Okay.
One of the biggest is learning to anticipate change.
Okay.
Remember how Sniff and Scurry would often venture out from Cheese Station C just to explore the maze?
They weren't content to just sit back and enjoy the cheese.
Nope.
They were actively looking for signs that the supply might be dwindling.
Exactly. They were monitoring the situation, staying alert to those subtle cues that often precede big changes.
Interesting.
And, it's not just about being observant.
No.
It's about challenging our own assumptions and beliefs.
Because sometimes our beliefs can become our biggest obstacles.
Totally.
We tell ourselves stories about why we can't change, why we're not good enough, or why things will never get better.
It's like him saying, but this is the only cheese. There can't be any other cheese out there.
Wow. He'd convinced himself that there was no other possibility.
He did.
It's amazing how powerful those limiting beliefs can be.
They can hold us captive.
So what do we do?
So step one is becoming aware of those beliefs.
Okay.
And then it's about challenging them,
Okay.
asking ourselves, is this really true? Or is this just fear talking?
It's about having the courage to question our own assumptions and open ourselves up to new possibilities.
Exactly. And that's where visualization comes in.
Okay.
Johnson talks about how Hall would picture himself surrounded by new cheese, enjoying all its different flavors.
He was literally creating a mental movie of his success.
And that helped him stay motivated even when the journey was tough.
Wow.
It's a powerful tool for overcoming fear and building confidence.
So we monitor for change,
Yeah.
challenge limiting beliefs,
Yep.
and visualize success.
Visualize it.
It sounds simple enough.
It does.
But I imagine putting it into practice can be challenging.
Oh, it is.
How do we take these concepts from the page and apply them to our own lives?
Great question. Let's say you're facing a major change at work.
Okay.
Maybe your company is restructuring or you're feeling burned out in your current role.
Mm-hmm.
How could you use these strategies to navigate that situation?
Well, first I'd try to get a clear understanding of the situation.
Okay.
What's really happening?
Yeah.
What are the potential impacts?
Uh-huh.
What are my options?
Right. You're gathering information, just like Sniff and Scurry scouting out the maze.
I like it.
The more you understand the change, the less scary it becomes.
Then I'd ask myself that powerful question from the book.
Yeah.
What would I do if I weren't afraid?
Ooh, good one.
This would help me identify those pesky limiting beliefs that might be holding me back.
For example, if you're thinking about switching careers,
Yeah.
you might tell yourself, I'm too old to start over.
Right.
Or I don't have the right skills.
But are those beliefs really true?
That's the question.
Or are they just based on fear and assumptions?
Exactly.
By questioning those beliefs, you might discover that you have more experience and skills than you realize.
You might?
Or that there are plenty of opportunities for someone with your unique talents.
And that's where visualization comes in.
Okay.
Imagine yourself in that new career, feeling confident, successful, and fulfilled.
I like it.
Create a vivid mental picture of what your life would look like if you made that change.
I can see how that would help shift your energy and mindset, making the transition feel less daunting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about replacing those negative, fear-based thoughts with positive, empowering beliefs.
So whether it's a career change, a relationship shift, or any other major life transition, these strategies can help us navigate those changes with more grace and resilience.
It's about remembering that change is inevitable
It is.
and that we have the power to choose how we respond.
We do.
We can either resist change and stay stuck in our comfort zones, or we can embrace change as an opportunity for growth and discover something even better than what we had before.
And who knows what delicious new cheese we might find along the way.
I know, right?
But let's not forget Who Moved My Cheese also highlights the importance of relationships during times of change.
Yes, it does.
How do we support others who might be struggling to adapt?
It's a good question.
How do we help them find their own new cheese?
That's a great point. The book doesn't just focus on individual change.
It doesn't.
It also touches on the importance of empathy, communication, and collaboration.
It's a reminder that we're not alone in this journey.
We're not.
We all face challenges and transitions, and we can learn from each other's experiences.
Exactly. So how can we apply these principles to our relationships.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a friend or family member who's going through a tough time,
Okay.
maybe a job loss or a difficult breakup.
Right.
How can you support them in a way that's helpful and empowering?
Well, I think the first step is simply to listen with empathy.
Yeah,
Let them share their feelings and experiences without judgment or offering unsolicited advice.
right.
Sometimes just having someone to talk to who truly understands can make a world of difference.
It's about creating a safe space for them to process their emotions and figure out their next steps.
Right. And then you can gently encourage them to ask themselves those key questions from the book.
Like what?
What are their fears?
Huh?
What are their limiting beliefs?
Okay.
What would they do if they weren't afraid?
By helping them explore those questions,
Yeah.
you're empowering them to take ownership of their situation and start brainstorming solutions.
You're also reminding them that they have the strength and resilience to navigate this change and come out stronger on the other side.
And sometimes the best support you can offer is simply to be a positive example.
I see that.
If you're embracing change in your own life and showing up with a positive attitude,
Mm-hmm.
that can be incredibly inspiring for those around you.
It's about walking the talk, demonstrating that change can be a positive force in our lives.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, supporting others through change can be tough, even when we have the best intentions.
It can be.
What are some common pitfalls to avoid?
That's a great question. One of the biggest mistakes we can make is trying to fix the situation for them or offering unsolicited advice.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
It's hard.
I often want to jump in with solutions,
Yeah.
but sometimes people just need to vent or process their emotions before they're ready for advice.
Exactly. Remember, it's their journey, not yours.
Right.
Your role is to support and encourage, not to dictate their path.
Another pitfall is minimizing their experience or comparing their situation to your own.
Like saying, oh, I went through something similar and it wasn't that bad.
Right. Every person's experience is unique,
It is.
and what might seem like a minor change to you could be a major upheaval for someone else.
So it's about validating their feelings,
Mhm.
even if you don't fully understand their perspective.
It's about offering empathy, compassion, and understanding rather than judgment or comparison.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about how to embrace change in our own lives
Yeah.
and how to support others who are going through difficult transitions.
For sure.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle that I think is worth exploring, the spiritual dimension of change.
I was hoping we'd get to that.
I thought you might.
Who Moved My Cheese is often seen as a simple self-help book,
It is.
but I think there's a deeper layer of meaning there.
There is.
Something that speaks to our souls as well as our minds.
Exactly. It's about more than just finding new cheese.
Yeah.
It's about finding meaning and purpose in the midst of change,
Uh-huh.
about connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
It's about recognizing that change is an inherent part of life,
It is?
and that by embracing change, we're embracing the flow of the universe.
So how do we tap into that spiritual dimension?
Yeah.
How do we find meaning and purpose when our world is turned upside down?
Well, I think it starts with cultivating a sense of gratitude,
Oh,
even in the midst of difficult circumstances.
because even when things are tough, there's always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. It could be our health,
Yeah.
our relationships, our talents,
Mm-hmm.
or simply the fact that we're alive and breathing
Right.
by focusing on what we have
Right.
rather than what we've lost.
Yeah.
We can shift our perspective and find a sense of peace even in the midst of chaos.
And that gratitude can lead to a deeper sense of trust,
Oh, I like that.
trust in ourselves,
Yeah.
trust in the process of life, and maybe even trust in a higher power.
It's about surrendering to the unknown,
Mhm.
believing that even though we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond.
And that response can be one of faith, hope, and resilience.
It's about remembering that we're not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
We have the support of loved ones, the guidance of our inner wisdom,
Right.
and the love of something greater than ourselves.
And that realization can be incredibly empowering, giving us the strength to face our fears, embrace change, and create a life that's filled with meaning and purpose. We've been digging deep into Spencer Johnson's Who Moved My Cheese,
We have.
exploring its insights on change adaptation,
Yeah.
and even the spiritual side of things.
I love that.
It's more than just a cheesy career guide, isn't it?
It really is. It's about life itself. And you know,
Yeah.
one thing that keeps coming back to me is that idea of the cheese constantly moving.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a one-time event.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
But even when we find new cheese and think we've got it all figured out,
Yeah.
life throws another curveball.
Exactly. Our needs evolve.
Right.
Circumstances change. The
Yeah.
world keeps spinning.
Mhm.
What satisfies us today might not cut it tomorrow.
I see that.
The real lesson isn't just finding new cheese once.
Hey.
It's about building those change muscles, that adaptability
Yeah,
for the long haul.
It's like developing a mindset that embraces change as a
Yeah.
constant
Mm-hmm.
rather than something to fear. It's almost like surfing.
Oh, yeah.
You're constantly adjusting to the waves riding them instead of getting wiped out.
What a great analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we become those master cheese surfers,
I like that.
riding the waves of change with confidence and grace?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me in the book
Mm-hmm.
was the importance of letting go.
Oh, yeah.
Hem and Haw really struggled with that, didn't they?
They did.
They clung to their old beliefs,
Yeah.
even when it was clear that things had changed.
It's a natural human response, though, isn't it? To
Yeah.
hold on to what's familiar, what feels safe.
Mm-hmm.
But that grip can become a prison, preventing us from moving forward.
Absolutely. So how do we loosen that grip? How do
Yeah.
we learn to let go of what's no longer serving us and embrace the unknown?
I think it starts with acceptance. Accepting that change is inevitable.
Yeah.
And that sometimes letting go is the bravest and most empowering thing we can do.
It's like that old saying, when one door closes, another one opens.
I love that one.
But sometimes we're so busy staring at the closed door
Arr.
that we miss the open one right in front of us.
It's about shifting our focus from what we've lost to what we can gain.
Right.
Remember how Haw eventually started to imagine all the delicious new cheese he might find?
He did.
That shift in perspective was crucial.
It's about embracing the adventure,
Yeah.
the possibilities that lie beyond our comfort zone.
And maybe even getting excited about the unknown.
Yeah.
Change can be scary,
It can.
but it can also be exhilarating.
For sure.
It's an opportunity to discover new aspects of ourselves, to learn and grow in ways we never thought possible.
It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves.
I love that.
So what's the ultimate takeaway for our listeners today?
Okay.
What one thing can they take from Who Moved My Cheese
Ah,
and apply to their own lives right now?
I think it boils down to this. Be like Sniff and Scurry.
Be those guys.
Be curious. Be adaptable. Be willing to let go of the old cheese
Mhm.
and embrace the adventure of finding new cheese.
Find that new cheese.
And most importantly, remember that change is a constant.
It is.
The cheese will keep moving.
It will.
The key is to develop the mindset and the skills to move with it.
Beautifully put.
Aw, thanks.
Keep sniffing out those opportunities.
Yeah.
Stay adaptable
Mm-hmm.
and never be afraid to venture out of your comfort zone.
Go for it.
Who knows what amazing new cheese you might discover.
You never know. Yeah.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into Who Moved My Cheese.
That was fun.
Thanks for joining us on this cheesy adventure. We hope you've gained some valuable insights
I hope so.
and feel inspired to become master cheese finders in your own lives.
Me too.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep moving with the cheese.